Hi everybody, this is a video to show you how to take through Design Space the SVG to make a little gift bag for 3 liqueur bottles and 3 chocolates that sit on top in a little holder. So I've just brought it in from my library, as you saw there. As it comes into your Design Space, before you ungroup it or anything, it should be 86.49 centimeters wide and 38.65 centimeters deep. So just check that as a starting point. Sometimes the updates can throw that off. Okay, so before we talk about anything else, which pieces you're going to choose, I'll just go quickly through how to convert the score lines. So as usual with my SVGs, this first group in your layers panel, you can see there are no coloured cut pieces, it's just lines. That's where all the lines live that need converting to scores. So you just click on the name of the group, it's the second line down in your layers panel. Go over to the operations menu, click on basic cut, go down to score, and you can see that those lines are instantly converted. And while that's still in a group, you need to go back over to your layers panel and click on ungroup at the top. These commands might live somewhere else depending on which version of Design Space you're using on which device, but these are the commands you need to look for. Second thing to choose is the second group in your layers panel, which is all the coloured cut pieces and the shapes within them, and simply ungroup them. And then, as with any multi-part SVG with score lines, you do need to ungroup a third time. So to do that, you select absolutely everything on screen. You can do that a number of ways. Drag a box like that, or Control A if you're on PC, or since you've got your layers panel there, just click right at the top of it and it selects absolutely everything, and you do that third ungroup. Those 3 ungroups are really important, and ideally in that order, and then things don't jump around. Okay, so now you've got everything separate, all the scores and all the pieces separate. You need to attach the individual score lines to the pieces that they relate to. And the quickest way to do that, click on screen somewhere near a piece, drag a box to enclose the scores and any inside cuts of the piece, and attach. And you need to do that for every piece on screen that has score lines. You can see that you don't always need to drag a whole box. Sometimes you can just go onto the corner of it. That's because my compound paths, my score lines, pardon me, are compound paths. So you only just need to touch on it and it will select all of it. There you go. Okay. These are just trim, so no scores there, obviously. And this is the acetate that goes behind that window, so no scores there either. Okay, so if all you came on to watch is how to do score lines, you can clock off now because we're going to talk about something else now. So this project, yes, it's the little gift bag that you can make for your 3 liqueur bottles that sit in there and the chocolates that get wrapped in there and sit on top of the bottles. But you can also use it to make just a really large handbag. And that's why you're given the flap and the bottom piece separately so that you've got the option to enlarge those. But just for this, we'll just talk about pieces that you're going to select if you're just going to make the little box to hold the liqueurs. So we don't need those for a start. And this trim, I've put it like that so you can actually attach it, because if you don't do that, it will put this U-shaped piece separately and you'll waste all that paper inside. So when I cut my bags, I actually always just cut that as a whole, whether I'm actually going to use all the pieces or not. And then I just keep them in an envelope so that the next time I make a bag, it's there. So you actually need all these pieces now that are on screen to make this basic project. So if we click make it, so you can see what I mean now, they all stay together and you cut it out of the smallest piece of paper possible without waste. It's quite good, this SVG, for such a lovely little detailed SVG. It does only take 2 pieces of 12 by 12, a piece of acetate there which will cut from an A4, and then this little less than half a sheet of A4 for all your trim. I'll just cancel that because I'm not going to make it. But as I said, you can use it to make a really big gift bag, and if I bring those 2 pieces in, I'll show you how. So imagine you were going to make just a gift bag with a front and a back and a lid, and the handles. So in that case, you don't need the acetate window, you don't need the insert for the bottles, you don't need the inserts for the chocolates. You might need some of this trim, so we'll just leave that on screen for now. Don't need this piece. Right, so I've decided I want to make a handbag and I want to make it as big as I possibly can on A3. This is the piece, obviously, that's going to be the problem because it's the biggest piece now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all my pieces together, including the trim, because that needs to go. Whoops, a daisy. Starting already. That, Judy. Let's just attach those. Yeah. Right. Right. So we don't need to group it, as long as we just select it all and we get this drag handle here, and as long as you use the one on the corner and this is locked, nothing will get distorted. So I'm going to click off that now and see how big that is. And that now, it's still only 20 centimetres wide and it's 29 deep. So we can go quite a bit bigger. I'll just zoom out a bit. Now if I check it, it's 26.8. Yep, still go bigger. Remember, it's this piece I'm checking because this is the biggest one. Right, so now it's telling me that it's 30 centimetres wide, which we know is too big because that's bigger than the width we can cut on our mats. We've got a maximum cutting width of 29.2 centimetres, so we need to get that under 29.2. What I'm doing is I'm clicking on the piece, I'm reading this dimension here, 29.3. Still a bit too big. 29.1. Perfect. So if we click make it, you can see that now that needs quite a big piece. That actually won't cut from A4 anymore. So you'd have to find something pretty for your trim that was bigger than A4. That piece there will cut from A4. This is the bag piece that we've just done. And let's have a look. Yeah, you see, that's about 41, and I know I've done it within 29.2, so I know that will cut from an A3. So you would just tell your machine that you're putting through the large mat and this big piece of paper, and you'd still put your A3 on. And I would just position it a couple of millimetres down to make sure that you've got that space at the bottom, but it is definitely within an A3. And there's the front of the bag. That's comfortably on A3. So you end up with a really nice gift bag. In the photographs on the listing, it's the big purple one with the gold lid flap that I made this way. Okay. So I hope that helps. If you've got any other questions about any other things you might want to make with this SVG, don't hesitate to come back to me. I'm always happy to help. Contact me on Etsy or Facebook. If you just stumbled across this video and you'd like to buy the SVG, the link to buy is in the description below. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye.